and I'll tell you the next step. It's a little difficult to hear, but the next step, because they need to keep building up the fear of these UAPs. Next step is really for the UAPs to start shooting down our commercial airliners and our military jets from the skies. And that, I believe, is going to be happening very, very soon.
Years ago, many years ago, in fact, 1972, I was sitting at my desk at about 4:30 in the morning at the headquarters of the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet, arranging the information that had come in over the last 24 hours into a logical order so that we could prepare a briefing for the Admiral and his staff, which would take place later that morning. Among the papers I found on my desk was a document entitled Operation Majority, and it was not the entire paperwork involving this operation, but was merely a synopsis of the operation and projects contained under it. One of these projects was called Project Red Light. The purpose, according to this document, was to back-engineer captured extraterrestrial technology for adaptation into the United States space program. Now, I have since come to believe that the extraterrestrial portion of all of this is nonsense, but that the technology is real. And, of course, through my network of friends in the intelligence community, what I discovered was amazing. What I discovered, ladies and gentlemen, is that there has been a plan in existence since about 1917, and probably before that, to create an artificial extraterrestrial threat to this Earth in order to create a one-world totalitarian socialist government.
You, over a year ago, were saying they are lying to us what they're going to do next. It's already prepared. They are going to tell us that a UFO invasion is coming. It will be used as a story. There won't be a UFO invasion. It'll be used as a story. And then I couldn't believe this all. I mean, it was all laid out there. It all was coming to be. Oh, it was Chinese balloons. Now maybe it was UFOs. Now it's UFOs. And now we're really ramping up the Pentagon awareness about it. And my side of it has been that they want to use this story to spend money. The military-industrial complex to continue to make billions of dollars, and using Space Force as the next way to do that and all of this. So am I wrong about that, or could you elaborate on that? And how did you know that this was going to be the case, that they were going to use this story to scare people?
The way that I knew was through my investigations that have been painstaking over the years, and also my information that I get from the intelligence community. In the intelligence community, which is the people who have worked with and been around the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all this, and also the intelligence agencies of other nations, of the other English-speaking nations. I get my information and how I get the things that I have. The fake alien invasion, anybody who follows me knows that I've been talking about this for several years now. And because it's all playing out exactly as I ascertained. And the main part of that prediction is that we would have this, when you hear this buzzword, UAPs,
Right.
rather than UFO. We had this elaborate operation. It's a psychological operation, the PSYOP, that has gone forward since, I would say, about 2012, where the Navy has basically, the U.S. Navy, United States Navy, has actually taken over the UFO, the entire UFO genre from the Air Force. Now it's been shifted because they decided to move into this UAP phenomena, where in 2004 we had a bunch of these sort of silver-colored, and what they are is they're top secret drones. They're drones that possibly use anti-gravity technology from possibly Roswell. That was technology transferred from Roswell. And so we have all of these UAPs. And in 2004, we had a final giant experiment off the coast of California in the Pacific Ocean, where we had the no less a power military force than the U.S. Nimitz carrier group, battle carrier group, that was off the coast of California and created a safe space for this final experimentation that went on. That's my description of what happened. In the New York Times and in all media around the world, it was described as, well, the Nimitz carrier group just suddenly happened upon these UFOs, and they kind of use softer language to describe UFOs, but they said, oh, this group of UFOs were buzzing around and they were at incredible speeds, and here's the pilots' conversations that they had at the time to tell us about this. And it's incredible, it's amazing, and then we had the launch. That was the launching of the UAP phenomena across this country.
So it starts there, right? When the New York Times breaks that story, right? And everything, oh my God, now we can talk about this, right? In the mainstream, and the Pentagon can start holding, we're going to have committees on this. Congress is looking into this. Senator Marco Rubio wants to make more money off of this. The whole thing starts and moves in that direction, right? And it's a psychological operation. So it was all controlled, was what you're saying. This idea that that we knew that USS Nimitz was going to be there, and this was all sort of planned for this to be launched and sort of disseminated to the public. So these drones, these craft, are they U.S.-made craft, reverse engineered from downed Roswell craft, or are these otherworldly beings, otherworldly craft? What does your intelligence tell you about that? If you were involved in the X-Files program and at the FBI, what do you know about it?
No, they are man-made. They are man-made things. They are recognizable by the signature silverish sort of skin that they have. It's this, but the shapes tend to be different in every case. There are some that are cigar-shaped. There are some that are larger. There are some that are much, much smaller. Some of them are those tic-tac shapes, those kind of ovals. So they're all different shapes and sizes. However, they have the same signatures of the movement that they are capable of. However, the way that we know they are not true UFOs. True UFOs can be extraterrestrial and extra dimensional. In other words, they are usually they have capacity for shape shifting. They have a capacity for disappearing and reappearing. That is one of the ways that we know genuine UFOs are afoot. We're able to see those qualities in them. These Tic Tacs, these UAPs don't have those abilities. However, I do believe that they have the ability to destroy things, and that's why they're being built up. They are not, and this is the thing we're struggling with even now in our Congress, in our Senate, and in other places. They are man-made, but they appear not to be made by the United States per se. We do have a congressman recently. I don't want to get summoned before any subcommittees, so I won't say his name, but we have a congressman from, I think he was from Indiana, who ran around. He was running around to these different subcommittees, and one of the things that he said was, these things appear to be man-made, and this is after several classified briefings that the subcommittees think nobody finds anything out about. He said it appears that these vehicles are man-made. Indeed, they are, but they're not made by the United States. They appear not to be made by Russia or China. However, it does appear that our global aerospace companies probably had several hands in creating these things. And he's talking
Mm.
about McDonnell Douglas, Raytheon, and several other companies that really don't consider themselves American. Uh, they're actually global companies. And he said it looks like those guys had some kind of hand in creating these UAPs, but it appears they are not under the control of the United States or any other nation. And that's all he said, and it was amazing when he said that, because it really leads to several other conclusions that, well, then who's controlling them? And it appears that the ones who are controlling them are the deep state, which is not an American organization. The deep state, the cabal, the Illuminati, the power that is over nations appears to be controlling them, and that fits in perfectly with them eventually building up this campaign of fear in the nations, which is what they're doing right now, to make people fear these UAPs. Ultimately, towards, and I'll tell you the next step. It's it's a little difficult to hear, but the next step, because they need to keep building up the fear of these UAPs. Next step is really for the UAPs to start um, shooting down our commercial airliners and our military jets from the skies. And that, I believe, is going to be happening like very, very soon.
So
Exactly.
we've heard for decades that these are benevolent, that there's not, and now we're going to start to hear they're going to start to use this story with these man-made craft, whether by Raytheon, whatever, to
Yeah.
start creating problems, so that we think that these are some otherworldly beings, but they're really us doing it. And they're going to start shooting down aircraft now. That's crazy. And I've heard similar things. So I'm not, what you're saying comports with what I'm hearing separately. And
Yes.
it's scary, but I want to know, what's the end goal, right? When I sit here and I sit back with my cup of coffee and I think, okay, three-dimensional chess, the deep state, the cabal, what they want, the World Economic Forum. They want control. They want a control of our money supply. They don't want any sovereign states. We know that. They want a global environment that they control. Unelected leaders. What do they want in this situation where they would want to start taking down aircraft? What do you know from your experience in the FBI that they act, this deep state? What do they want?
The end goal is, and this is a long-term psychological operation, as well as physical operation as well. The long-term goal is ultimately to put together this grand operation called fake alien invasion. Now, the only the only fake part about it is going to be that the alien visitors are involved with this. They're not. They're not at all. Um, Everything else is going to be real. The destruction that they bring to our cities is going to be real. That's what they want to do, and that's the reason that they had to divorce, because of what you just said. All of the history of UFOs, much of it has been benevolent towards mankind. For instance, we've seen since Rendlesham in 1980, when Reagan was in office, we saw these these UFOs that had all the hallmarks of actual UFOs, extra dimensional UFOs. They were UFOs that descended on an American military base on British soil in Rendlesham Forest, and we saw them. A lot of them were filled with light. They were obviously in a transitional state of matter. They had the ability to appear and disappear, and they all, now we're finding out, they all went and shut down nuclear missiles that were apparently at Rendlesham. And that has been something that we've seen throughout history. And one of the reasons that they do that is because they know that there's something is going to happen with those nuclear missiles at that moment that nobody else knows. And that's one of the reasons that they come and they deactivate these nuclear missiles that are being readied for use in some capacity at that time. And there's been a long history of that throughout, even before 1980 and even beyond at that time. So this has been going on, and that shows benevolent intent from real, actual UFOs that are possibly extraterrestrial. That is the reason why this operation had to divorce themselves from the label UFOs, and they had to create this new thing, UAPs.